Arvin Lindblad, just 17 years old, and he's already being whispered about in the same breath as Max Verstappen. And now it's not just whispers, it's real. The FIA has officially granted Lindblad a super license exemption, and Red Bull is wasting no time. The team confirmed he'll be getting multiple FP1 sessions in 2025. This isn't just a test, it's a trial run, because Red Bull is seriously considering putting Lindblad in a full-time Formula One seat as early as 2026. Let that sink in. We're watching the possible rise of the next big star in F1. But for Lindblad to step up, someone's going to have to step out. And that means pressure is building, not just on Yuki Tsunoda, but on Red Bull's entire driver program. So how did we get here, and what does this mean for the future of Red Bull and Formula One? Let's break it down. Lindblad's rise through the junior ranks has been nothing short of electric. Karting prodigy, Formula 4 phenom, F3 standout, and now, as a rookie in F2, he's already made history. The youngest driver ever to grab pole and win a race in the series. And he's not just fast, he's consistent, he's composed, he's mature beyond his years. Red Bull doesn't throw around Verstappen comparisons lightly, but in Lindblad's case, they're not just leaning into the hype, they're planning around it. Behind the scenes, Helmut Marko and Christian Horner have accelerated Lindblad's development plan. The decision to fast-track his super license through an exemption request wasn't random, it was strategic. That application was filed back in February, long before Verstappen's future with the team became uncertain. Now, the timing feels deliberate. Red Bull has already scheduled Lindblad for TPC, testing of previous cars sessions, starting at Imola. It's the same approach Mercedes used to get Kimi Antonelli ready to replace Lewis Hamilton. Quiet testing, controlled conditions, and a pressure-free environment to evaluate whether the kid's really got it. And Red Bull believes he does, but this isn't just about Lindblad's potential, it's about what happens next. Because if Red Bull moves him into Formula One in 2026, someone will lose their seat. Right now, that spotlight is burning on Yuki Tsunoda. Tsunoda has been in the Red Bull system since 2020. He's been loyal, he's improved year over year, and 2024 was supposed to be his shot, a chance to prove he belonged at the top team. But two things have happened. First, the Red Bull seat isn't what it used to be. The car hasn't always been dominant, and being paired with Verstappen is no easy task for any driver. Just ask Pierre Gasly or Alex Albon. Second, Tsunoda hasn't been delivering the consistent points Red Bull wants, and with Lindblad rising faster than expected, the pressure on Tsunoda is reaching a breaking point. Helmut Marko was brutally honest. If the results don't show up after Imola, we'll have to make changes. That wasn't a subtle hint, that was a deadline. Red Bull has always run a ruthless driver program. If you don't perform, you're out. Lawson learned that the hard way. So did Gasly, so did Kvyat. The team doesn't promote based on feelings, they promote based on future value. And right now, Lindblad is that value. But it's not just Tsunoda who should be worried. Isack Hadjar, another Red Bull junior, was expected to make the leap to F1 in 2025. And while that may still happen, most likely through AlphaTauri, his long-term spot is shaky. Why? Because Red Bull sees something in Lindblad that's rare. Hadjar's F2 performances have been solid but not spectacular. Lindblad, on the other hand, is delivering headline results under pressure and doing it with a level of polish that feels Verstappen-esque. If Lindblad nails his FP1 sessions and TPC tests, and if Hadjar doesn't light up the grid in his rookie year, Red Bull could easily reshuffle the deck in 2026, putting Lindblad in the A-team alongside Verstappen or someone else. Because yes, we need to talk about Verstappen's future too. Let's not pretend that Verstappen's seat is locked beyond 2025. There are too many variables. The ongoing fallout from the Horner power struggle, rumors of discontent, and even a few whispers that Mercedes is keeping the door open if Max ever decides to jump ship. If Red Bull loses Verstappen, Lindblad instantly becomes the centerpiece of the next chapter. And that's why Red Bull's 2026 strategy matters more than ever. With major regulation changes coming that season, every team is preparing for a reset. If Red Bull wants to maintain dominance, they'll need both technical innovation and drivers who can lead a new era. That could be Max and Arvid, or Arvid and someone else. But either way, Red Bull is preparing for all possibilities. Now, back to Lindblad. He's not just a talented driver, he's a compelling figure, calm in interviews, fiercely competitive on track, and just a little bit flashy off it. Remember that viral stunt where he scored a football goal with an F1 car in the UK? That wasn't just for fun, that was a branding move. Red Bull loves a showman, and Lindblad already understands how to balance performance with marketability. In a sport that's increasingly driven by media attention, social presence, and global fan bases, Lindblad isn't just ready for the car, he's ready for the spotlight. And make no mistake, the comparisons to Verstappen will only grow. Arvid addressed them directly. "It's an honor, but it's hard to compare. Max has done incredible things. I'm just focused on my path, doing my best and driving fast. That's all I can control." Smart words. And true, because F2 success doesn't guarantee F1 greatness. We've seen plenty of champions struggle to make the leap. But what sets Lindblad apart is what Johnny Herbert recently pointed out. We won't know how good Arvid really is until he's in the same car as Max. If that ever happens, we could be in for something special. Let's talk timeline. Lindblad is expected to do several FP1 sessions throughout 2025, likely starting after the summer break. That gives Red Bull time to evaluate him against real-world benchmarks. His performance in those sessions, plus his TPC runs, plus how Hajar and Tsunoda perform across the season, that combination will determine who's in and who's out in 2026. The stakes couldn't be higher. If Tsunoda suddenly starts stringing together top 10 finishes, he makes things complicated. If Hajar dominates in his rookie year, Red Bull might hesitate before shaking things up. But if either driver slips, Lindblad's rise becomes inevitable. Here's the cold reality. Red Bull doesn't build safety nets. They build pipelines. And in that pipeline, there's only room at the top for two. In 2026, Red Bull will be looking for a driver who can either support Verstappen or become his successor. Arvid Lindblad is that driver. So, what should we expect? A brutal second half of the 2025 season as Tsunoda and Hajar fight for survival. Intense focus on every FP1 lap Lindblad runs, Red Bull tightening its internal timelines to lock in their 2026 duo by the end of next year. And beyond that, a new F1 era that might start with a teenager from London being handed the keys to Red Bull's kingdom. Now we want to hear from you. Should Red Bull go all in on Lindblad in 2026? Is Tsunoda being set up to fail? Or is this just the harsh nature of elite motorsport? Could Lindblad be Verstappen's successor? Or even his equal? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like the video if you think Red Bull's future is about to get a whole lot more competitive. And don't forget to subscribe for more F1 breakdowns, behind-the-scenes insights, and rising star profiles. Because whether or not he gets the seat, one thing's for sure. Arvid Lindblad is coming.